Okay, look at that. We got the little light. I'm going to hit
Get
that.
those nerds! Nerds!
All right, good morning, everyone. It is a Wednesday, and it's a big Wednesday here on Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day, on Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer, and all the other automotive auction sites, including now Rad For Sale. That is a new player, right? And not only are we excited about Rad For Sale, by the way, before we get to Rad For Sale, I mean, my name is John Polnick. I'm your host of this stupid show, and I'm coming to you live from Las Vegas, along with my partner Michael Deep. I thought I'd go ahead and introduce him as well. He is a resident nerd, my partner. But here's the thing: the reason why we're all so excited is because we have Third Nerd Wednesday. Doesn't sound right, but who the hell cares when you got someone that knows what they're talking about? A nerd. This guy is a bigger nerd than either one of us combined. He's a respected journalist, and you all already know him because of his amazing haircut. Here he is, Bradley Brownell. How are you, my friend? Look at that. We've got your name down.
Killing it.
Yes, awesome. I like that you have kind of a halo effect behind you there. That's you are also not only a respected journalist, but you're kind of godly in a little way. I feel like we should be bowing down.
Oh my goodness.
What's up, Bradley? How's Rad For Sale going? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work to get to this point, but it is up and running, and we've got some amazing cars, motorcycles, and parts and accessories up there, so definitely go check it out when you get a chance.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. We couldn't have done it without our full team. I know nothing about programming. I'm terrible with computers, so admittedly, a lot of this is just me sitting by going, wow, that's just hard. Hope you get it figured out.
We should get somebody that knows what they're doing involved in this thing.
JP, for the record, I was with Stratus when they went live, and I was the Bradley Brownell of Stratus for sure. I was like, wow, that's a mess. That doesn't look right. You should complain. I don't know what to tell anybody.
So I'm going to be in charge of some of the editorial on the site. So that's my contribution, is writing about weird cars and doing the stuff I love to do. So that'll be a new outlet for us to bring some rad into the world.
Yeah.
So check it out. We've got a little blog on the site, and we've got a bunch of cars that are pretty cool. I know some of the stuff that's coming up, and it's like off the wall rad. So
nice.
Yeah.
How about that, Bradley? How about, are we going to get that on Rad For Sale?
Hey, if you send it, we'll send it.
Yeah. All right. I know people. There it is. We're trying. We're gonna give this a whirl. I think that should happen. What are there any specific cars or lots that you guys are particularly excited about on Rad For Sale?
I mean, there's only like 7 or 8 on there right now because it's the first week and we're launching with some big stuff.
Yeah.
I shouldn't admit this, but currently the high bidder on the RZ350 motorcycle. So
yes, all right, there it is. There's the bike right there. I could see you rocking that.
So JP, clearly Bradley's wife is not home. Would not have said that out in the house. No way.
That is true.
JP, did you see they have a Rothman's livery 944 Cup car on Rad For Sale right now? And I'm telling you, listen,
Reebok.
Yeah, Reebok.
Reebok livery.
Reebok and JP, listen, neither one of us has room for a race car, but that should be the Bid Nerd like coffee go-getter for sure. Like we should put a classic plate on that in Vegas and drive around.
In most states, that is 100% street legal.
Oh, look at that!
I love most states. How
cool is that? Reebok. That's so rad.
That is so
you can put that on classic tags in Nevada and have no problem whatsoever, my friend.
We know a guy.
I am down with that. I love the photography.
That car is cool.
Bradley, we talk about this all the time. On the other here's the thing. On the other sites, like Bring a Trailer used to be very selective when cars came through, and now it seems like since they've been bought by a big, huge corporation, they are less selective. But they don't really care because they're the guys to beat. Cars and Bids seems like they have no gate at all. It's like Doug over there will basically take anything, and he doesn't really seem. Do you guys have any kind of quality control when it comes to the ads? Because it seems like, particularly at Cars and Bids, and Pcar Market used to be pretty bad at this, but they've gotten a lot better. And Hemmings is just straight up awful. There's like no QC on the quality control of the images that people are giving along with the cars. So not only is it
images,
weird cars,
but
it's like they just let it. Oh, it's like, oh, you took a bunch of snapshots with your iPhone. Great, whatever. Who cares? Is there any kind of paying attention to that sort of quality control?
Absolutely. So if you go to the Rad For Sale, there is a section called "This Is How You Do It."
Oh, nice.
And you're supposed to sing it. This is how you do it. Anyway, and there is actually in the blog as well, there is a photo guide.
Nice.
So if you go to the blog, under the More tab there, up at the top.
Oh, there we go. Okay, blogs. All right, we probably shouldn't be. This will turn into a Zoom meeting real quick. On the right track, go ahead and we definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So you have
go to the blog,
how to
there's a
do
photo
it.
guide.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the photo guide will show you lighting and how to get all of the photos that you need, having a good background, having a simple background. Make sure you get stuff with the engine compartment, the underside, how to edit photos, all that kind of stuff. So
are people using those tools? And I know it's early, but is this the kind of thing that it's like, okay, this stuff is there, but are you actively rejecting people if their photos are not up to a certain quality level?
Absolutely. Yeah. One of our co-founders, Lane, is absolutely a stickler for this kind of quality of photo, and every once in a while we'll send in our little Slack chat examples of particularly bad photos.
The what were they thinking file.
JP
is the Lane of business, and man, it's stickler for photos. Oh boy,
so ticked off.
Sets him off. Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. Like we talked about last time I was on the show, that S2000, it had better photos, it would have sold for $20,000 more.
Yep.
I mean, that's just a fact. So
that is a fact.
Yeah.
So
definitely want good photos on the site.
Yeah. The rumor mill has it as an industry person is that when you guys sort of announced that you were going to do the platform, that you were inundated with like literally thousands of applications or submissions. How did you guys? I think what JP is sort of hinting at is, how do you sift through? Obviously, you guys, just the Rad theme is from 1980 to 1999, with the exception of a few continuation things. But it presumably, a couple thousand of these submissions come through and they fit just that certain criteria. How do you sift through to say that's a car that's eligible for us and that's a car we just can't deal with it? I mean, do you look at the quality of the cars and really have somebody that's playing judge and jury?
Absolutely. It's kind of the same way with our car shows. And I would say thousands is maybe a little overstating it, but definitely hundreds.
Yeah.
So hundreds of thousands, that's the takeaway here. Bradley
right.
Redwood says they had hundreds of thousands of submissions.
Oh, my God.
Bragging Bradley, that guy, man. Jeez.
Wow.
Every time we bring him on the show.
I mean, just like our shows, we're going to have a filtering process for, normally we take this car, but we just sold one 2 days ago or something like that. So we don't get a lot of repeat stuff on the site. And there's definitely going to be a process where we filter out, what is, putting on the site versus maybe this is more of a Craigslist car. And that's not to say that we're not going to take projects and we're not going to take stuff that might need a little bit of work, stuff that might not even run. It's just going to be a matter of how rad it is.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Hey, okay, one last question about Rad For Sale. And I don't know if you're going to know the answer to this one. I was reading the fact that, one thing when you go onto one of these sites, you put your credit card number in there and then, so that they can take the fees out. Do you know what the fees are, number one, when you actually sell the car? And number two, there was a thing on there that said that your card is charged a small hold, like $1, or maybe it was 3 cents or something like that, every time you bid. Is that something that happens every single time you bid, or does it just happen once and that's it until the final bid? Okay.
Yeah. So yes. Okay. So there's 3 listings for the seller.
Okay.
I'll go through the whole thing. So there's 3 types of listing for the seller. There's no reserve, which is $45. There's a standard listing, which has a reserve, is $85. And then there's royalty, which gets special placement in that banner at the top. And that's $125. Okay. And the royalty is kicked out to 10 days instead of the standard 7 days.
Got it.
And then you'll also get like bigger promotion on social media and all of that. Then parts and lifestyle items, your wheels, your jackets, your members only jackets, that kind of stuff, that's free to list. And there's just a percentage on the buyer.
Yeah. And that percentage, I think you guys have the lowest rate. It's like under 5%. If I remember.
It is under 5%. Yeah, I believe it's 4.5%.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that is, let's see, here it is. So there is a 4.5% of the initial bid amount. With the hold is going to be, if you're bidding to prove that you're in it, is your $150. Once that's held through the end of the auction, then if you didn't win, you get it refunded, obviously. But if you do win it, that's the buyer's fee.
Okay. So it doesn't. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. It goes up to what now?
It goes up to a maximum of $4,500. So if you're bidding on something that's $1 million, you're still only going to pay $4,500.
Okay. So to be clear, every time you bid, every single bid does not get charged a new hold. You just get charged one hold for the bid on one specific car. Okay. Yeah. Yes. And I don't know, maybe I'm an idiot and there's no maybe about it. I am. But you guys might want to look at that on the fact, because that did not seem clear to me. It almost seemed like, or at least it seemed like there was definitely the potential that that could mean that they're going to hit me every single time I bid, which could be crazy if you bid 50 times, which is possible, right?
It's totally possible. I would do that. And it says it could be cleared up. You're right, but the nomenclature is: when bidding, we place a hold on your card for 4.5% of our initial bid amount. Initial bid. So your first bid. Yeah. With a minimum hold of 150 and a maximum of 4,500. So, yeah. Should you not win that auction, that hold would be
just only the initial bid, kids, not only consecutive. Yeah. All right. Well, that's a lot of cool Radwood stuff, Rad For Sale. We are really, really rooting for you, Bradley, and we're definitely going to be paying attention, and we're not going to hold back, because let me just tell you, we love all these auction sites, and we sometimes we get a little. We can get a little dark on sometimes. Some of the interfaces really tick me off, because like you, I am not a technical person either. So when stuff doesn't work, I get very, very frustrated. I had hair, and that's why I don't now. But anyway,
pulling it all
just a long time ago. It might have been the mullet when I was in the 80s too, but I don't know. I'm going to say it's because of stress. Let's get to, so this is the daily nerd out on the most interesting cars and bids and bring a trailer, Rad For Sale, Pcar Market, and all the other automotive auction enthusiast sites. Let's get to the cars. So we actually make predictions as to what we think the cars that we discuss will sell for when they hit the auction block today. We did 5 cars yesterday. Let's go back and look at the cars that we made predictions on yesterday, see how we did, and then we're going to get to today's cars. We're going to start with, if you saw the clickbait thumbnail, you saw an amazing LP 400 Series 2,
That's
if I remember
right.
correctly. That's a Lambo
right.
for all
That's
you
right.
cats and kittens. You're all excited about that. But yeah, let's do yesterday's cars. What did we talk about yesterday, Michael Deeb? Let's go.
So JP, we started off with that incredible neon. How do you say? This is a 2017 Mercedes-Benz G550 4x4 squared. The ultimate in bodacious off-road transportation. This thing was just incredible. JP, the thing that's so amazing is there's so few of them out there, and they're so incredibly overpriced, and yet there's a line around the block to get one. I mean, they just can't produce these things fast enough because they're holding their value. By all accounts, this car was about $220,000 when it was brand new. For that reason, and the fact that it had like 2,900 miles on it, I thought it would sell at a reasonable $195,000. You bet the over at 205. And if you remember yesterday, our third nerd, Max Monahan from Lux Auto Sales in Salt Lake City, Utah, he bet higher than you and said 208,000. This thing sold for $215,000, just a few dollars shy of original MSRP. Max also pointed out that there might have been a high premium paid for that paint job. That neon paint job apparently is like 20 grand when you order the car. So JP, you won that one to start off the day. And that is just an incredible sale on a trailer. It's amazing, JP, that these things make so much money. I know you've driven one. Are they that good?
They are fantastic. I absolutely love these things. There's no way I'm paying 200 grand for something like it, but I do, except that I bought this one. Just to let everybody know, we did buy this because it's douche bid nerds green. It is our official color, so we did go ahead and buy it. Bradley, I know you have a rule. You're not going to own anything over $100,000, so this thing is well over that mark. What do you think of this douche rig? I mean, G-Wagon squared.
I've never been a G-Wagon guy. I mean, I'll take that back. I like the Rad era two-door compacts.
Yeah.
They were actually like rugged and manual, like 280 diesels or whatever. Those are cool. Yeah, those are small. They were actually used for off-roading. These are just used for stunting on the strip. Yeah, and that's about it.
Well, hold on, Bradley. You know Rami. You know our good friend Rami.
Yeah,
he does not strike you as the guy. He is ultimate douchebag. Love you, Rami. You know I say that with love. But he did not hold back. He drives his like a maniac out in the desert and all. He does all the things.
He is the
an anomaly
exception that proves the rule. Right, he's an anomaly. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, and much to Bradley's regard is that most of these cars are used to get bottle service, not to get dirt. That's for
sure.
Totally.
Well, hold on. I will say, Bradley, your compadres over at DWA Driving While Awesome, Lane and Art, they came out for the Rami show premiere a year ago or so, and we actually went out there and we were on. What's that?
That was more than a year ago. I remember.
Yeah, I know. Jeez, it's so crazy how time flies, especially with last year. But
what was that? SEMA 2018.
It was Oh my God! Now you're killing me. So all your buddies that we went on the DWA show before they came out, and we were talking about G-Wagons. They're all like poo-poo and we don't like G-Wagons. They're too small, but we don't like G-Wagons. Then they got there, and Rami drove them around that thing. And by the end of the weekend, they were like, "Oh, we all have to go get G-Wagons." So, Lane, Art, how you doing? Hope you can afford to get a G-Wagon from Radwood, Rad For Sale proceeds, and they're buying one of these. Bradley, what are you going to do when they show up and pick you up at the airport in this car?
I don't fly, so
I drive. There you go. All right, you're like
they're picking me up anyway. I'm driving my own stuff. I'll be there in the 912.
Yeah. The airline he flies is air cooled.
Nice. And the dads will be here all week. Okay, let's hear. What do we got next?
Mom, meatloaf. Okay, we looked at an all-star bring a trailer, a 1990 Volvo 740 GLE with a manual transmission, an engine swap, and a limited slip differential with some Fittipaldi. JP, by all accounts, this was a very cool looker from the three-box design that Volvo was famous for in the Rad era. It's funny, I went higher on the car than you did. I said $4,100, and you bet the under at $3,900, threatening to purchase the car if it fails to meet your bid. Max Monahan shocked everybody when he said $6,000. Turns out he wasn't so crazy after all, because the car sold for higher than our two bids at $4,600. Max really wasn't that far apart when he said his number, because he's only like $1,400 apart and about the same as you. Anyway, it sold at that price. I got the win. Moving on, we looked at cars and bids. Doug DeMuro was offering a 1988 Jeep Comanche Pioneer with the manual transmission and a preview by about 30 years of what the Gladiator was due to look like. So, JP, if you can pull this car up, this was a really neat piece because it was still really good, really original edition. Somehow this thing's not like, I don't know, 180,000 miles, survived. Not all beat to hell. It's not all replacement parts. It doesn't even look like it's been painted. So really just a bit of time need, you say. I said 9,500. You conservatively bid the under at 8,900. Max went higher at 10,005. You were $400, JP, off of Yahtzee. This thing sold for $8,500. I think really well bought out of maybe North Carolina, if I remember.
Yeah. So, Bradley, the pickup truck, the Jeep, or the Volvo? Which one are you driving home? Because I like that Volvo,
probably,
man. I was kind of, I wanted to get your take on the Volvo. Yeah, that Volvo is so like atomic blonde. Yeah. Well, you were pointing out that I was slow to bring up the picture of the Jeep, as if I wasn't trying. I'm trying. I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, are you gonna bring the picture up? Come on, dude. Today we're doing a show. Do you know how this works?
Any minute now. But
Come on.
That Volvo had an engine swap, Bradley, and by all accounts, it was like a high revving 2.3 16 valve under the hood of that thing. I'm guessing it's probably close to 200 horsepower and a limited slip differential with Fittipaldi wheel and a manual. I
just saw the picture of the Jeep with the dogs in the bed, and I'm kind of about that now. That's a good match.
Yeah,
you could put dogs in the back of the Volvo, but they'd have to be little dogs.
That's true.
That's
true.
Like this little dog would look great in the back of the Volvo.
I'd probably go with the Volvo. I'm a Volvo guy.
I'm a Volvo. Sorry.
Oh my God.
She was like, what the hell are you doing?
Okay, JP. We jumped over to Pcar Market to look at arguably maybe my favorite car that we've covered on Nerds to date. The 1987 Porsche 911 Carrera M491. Bradley, in my humble opinion, as a wide body owner, this car ticks every conceivable box. It's 87, which means it's got the 50 gearbox. It was low miles, I think 39,000 miles. It's all original condition and in outstanding condition. And it is not paint to sample, but it is rare, regular range color called Granite Green Metallic with a gray-green interior. And, of course, it's an M491. This car was just spectacular. By all accounts, this car shot to the moon. On Pcar Market, offered, I think, on the East Coast, JP, I went strong at $112,000. You also went strong betting over the $100,000 mark, but under me at $110,000. Max Monahan, who's a Porsche file, strangely bet $98,000, a very conservative back. This car had an incredible late flurry on Pcar Market and sold for $125,000. And again, in my opinion, this moved that mark for normally aspirated Carreras, the 3.2 G bodies. I think this bumped it up a bit. I mean, certainly this is a rare car. They allegedly only brought 14 M491 coupes in 1987, and then this one being that color and low miles. I mean, this is a unicorn of sorts, and I think at $125,000, it's actually a bargain. What do you say, Bradley? Am I crazy?
Well, it's probably around that. I don't know. I don't know if I'd call it a bargain, but interesting story about M491s. I actually sold a paint to sample. Pearl white cab, M91 89.
Yeah.
In 2012.
For how much?
For like 65.
Oh,
wow, that was a lot then.
Yeah.
It It was dollar 45,000 miles, I think.
Yeah, that'd be almost as much now.
Yeah. It was a really, really nice car, and it went to a lawyer in Cleveland, and he, by all merits, still loves it. But that was a really, really nice car. Anyway, this one.
Yeah.
Do I see a 3.2 at 125? That seems like a lot to me. No.
G50 coupes in black, just regular Carreras. If they're really low miles, like 10, 12,000 miles, something like that, that's a $120,000 car. 89 anniversary cars, they made those coupes and convertibles. Those cars, if they're in low miles, they'll bring 120 grand. And now
I know they will, but whether it's worth it.
No. I'm not getting into the value, but this is what they bring. And now you've got a really rare color, low mile M49 with a G50. It's 125. I'd say that's right on the money. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It might shock JP and sensibilities because he's more frugal than I am. But that's a crazy number. But that also makes sense when you dilute it.
What I don't get is how, like a turbo of approximately, like an 86 or whatever turbo, those are still 80 grand. And they're turbos. Yep. So, so we've got less power, and I agree. I actually, frankly, would rather have the naturally aspirated one than the normally aspirated one.
Me too.
Just because turbos are a pain in the butt. But, it's a turbo for crying out loud. So now turbo, we haven't really seen many turbos come up lately, consequently. It seems like we've seen a lot of 491s, but very few turbos. Yeah. And I'd love to see a comp. I'd love to see an 87 turbo in the same conditions, same miles, hit this same auction site and see where that one lands. Is it going to land higher or lower? Because same thing is happening with 993 wide bodies. They're shooting up, but we're not seeing a lot of turbos on those either. Those are definitely
to be apples to apples, it has to be an off attractive color. So it can't be black or hard red. And it's got to be a color that somebody wants, like something unusual like this to really get sense of it. But JP, I think your take is spot on that this normally aspirated car, because of its uniqueness, brought a premium that even a turbo with similar opportunity might not be able to match. And
if we did see a red one or a black one, a more regular color, and it brought the same money, then that would be but that's what I'm saying. It's like we haven't seen one. So if a regular colored one hit and it brings the same money as this car, then we could say, all right, well, if it had a special color, it would have brought more. So all things in the universe make sense now. But if they if they go for less than this at any color, then something less or same, then something's weird. So I don't know.
If that was an 87 turbo in guards red, black, or cork interior or something, and 40,000 miles on, that's an $89,000 to $95,000 car retail. I don't even think it would break 100,000.
Don't even think. I think there's no data to support that. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that with the things that we have seen, you and I have been watching everything for the last 3-4 months. We have not seen the car that you just described hit the market. So I think to say that car would bring anything, I think is pure speculation. I don't think
that's what we do here.
Yeah,
that's our
and we don't know what the hell we're talking about. We clearly don't know what we're talking about.
I thought you were my partner. The March. Are you?
Yeah, that's true. Stab. No, look, I'll use a Stratos. You want to get your?
All right. Really
I just don't think we don't know. Yeah. I just think not only do we normally, because we never know, it'd be really interesting to find out and confirm that assumption, because it is the correct assumption, but whether or not the reality would bear that, because I don't know. The world is upside down right now. All right, so we spent a lot of time on this 491. Sorry, Bradley. Bradley, you still there?
Yeah.
I'm just teasing. We were just rambling here.
Laundry while he's down. His wife's
down. All right.
So, JP, last car was on Hemmings. Bradley might find this interesting. Hemmings always had a 2002 Pcar 990 C2 cab with a manual transmission, right around like 9,000 miles. By counts, just a very nice two-wheel Porsche cab. Interesting to note that in the listing, they never mentioned the IMS variant, but multiple comments said, asked it, the dealership representing this car said, upon inspection, a mechanic stated that he thinks that the IMS variant has been done, but there is literally no receipts and no physical evidence to support that claim.
How do you think that?
Right.
I don't know how you do
Right.
that.
That's what I said, Bradley. I was like, "What kind? That
No.
is such used car sales checked." Bradley.
Yeah.
He's got the
it's-
horrible. Oh, that is such used car sales
So
bullshit.
That's like a 944 timing belt. If you don't have receipt, if you can't show me the receipts, it hadn't been done. Assume it hadn't been done.
Listen to him. He knows what he's talking about.
Yes, yeah. That guy.
Whoever bought this 996 for a premium, I hope they don't have a long way to drive it home. Change the
my
IMS
goodness.
before you drive this thing anywhere. You idiot.
So-
it looks like it was done.
So Bradley, you buddy JP, he went off on the car. It was great. He teed it up, handed it to him, and then he kind of spanked Hemmings and the dealer for the way they represented this car. That being said, JP made some very interesting points. I want to cover them really quick. I said $18,000 was what this car was going to land at. John said 17, and he said, Michael, even if this car breaks 20, it's probably not going to sell. He goes, I am guessing that the reserve is higher than that. And so even though I'm going to say 17 because that's probably what it's worth, I don't think I'm going to find a home there because the reserve will have been too high. Max went ahead, bet 17.5 and split the difference between us. This car was bid up to $21,500 and failed to sell. It was immediately offered immediately offered like as a classified on Hemmings listing. $24,000, and within the hour, they accepted an offer at $22,575. So $22,500. Let's start with that's what it's sold at. Is that a fair price for this car? Knowing that it needs an IS bearing, you're going to be in it like $1,000 to do it, and $2,500 for the bearing. You get $3,500 before you can drive it on your street.
I wouldn't pay that.
Neither would John. Neither would
yeah.
JP. And because JP and I are partners, I love him for this. He wouldn't let me spend that money on either.
Yeah.
That's an amazing price.
I love cabs, and I have grown to love 996s. I don't see it. I don't see where that money is. In that
the only thing this car could be worse would be for sure. Way to go, Hemmings. The only thing that would make this car worse would be if it was a C4. I mean, it's got the gray interior. It's got those hideous wheels. I mean, it's just I just don't get it.
Hideous gray interior. Tell Bradley brain.
My Boxster had gray interior, so I'm well familiar with that.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It really is a liability. I think it makes it harder to sell. But anyway, there you go. Hemmings, I don't know how you did it, but man, there was a late flurry. It went up in increments, took a long time to close, got up to 21.5, which was still a remarkable number, and did not hit the reserve. And they managed to sell $1,000. That whole thing impressed me. If it's positive, it impressed me. And at the end of the day, JP, I won that loss. So there you go.
And
that's yesterday.
I don't often love to make this comment, but on cars like this, it makes me think, how much of that is them selling it to themselves to inflate market prices? Yeah, that seems like a fool and his money walked away from that.
Yeah, I
wouldn't pay that.
I know. Neither.
But here's the thing, though.
996s
are taken off. Narrow body coupes with are bringing in the high 20s with aero.
Coupes.
Yeah, coupes. I understand.
Right.
I understand. Coupes. Yeah. They're bringing in the high 20s and sometimes even 30s. So for a cab to bring 20 or 30% less, that does make some sense in the universe, the way the universe is going. I mean, with C4S is going for 50 in some situations.
Yep. C4S is bringing 50 40th anniversaries. They're bringing regularly 45 with 60,000 miles. And IMS, no IMS, they don't care. Those cars are bringing the money.
Yeah.
And I remember ones were $15,000 cars.
Right out there, and they're picking up.
Take your Metamucil there, Bradley. I'll send you a box of prune juice.
It was like 2 years ago, John.
I know. That's what's crazy about it. It's like I'm old enough to remember 34 seconds ago when these things were worth nothing, and now what happened? I don't know what's going on. I do need All right. Well,
they're picking up all the other cars for sure.
That's a lot of nerding out on yesterday's cars. We're more than halfway through the show, and we just spent an S-load of time on a 996 cab.
Yep.
What is wrong with us? And I love cabs, all right? I'm not a cabriophobe like the rest of you yahoos.
I love cabs.
I know that.
I'm a Boxster.
Not you.
Not me. Okay.
It's okay.
All right,
oh, wait,
all
where's your
right.
head there? I'm going to try to pat you on the head. It's okay, Bradley. It's okay. I know you're my people. So anyways, let's get to today's cars. I'm really excited about nerding out on some of these cars that we have, and I think that, a couple of them we specifically picked for our good friend Bradley. Starting with this, I don't know if there's a car that is more rad. Is there any car on the planet more rad than a Lamborghini Countach in bright red like this LP 400 Series 2? Michael Deeb, you're the Italian car guy. Tell us about this thing. What is going on here?
Okay, so offered out of Emeryville, California. And for those of you who know, Emeryville, California can only mean one day. Fantasy Junction.
Fantasy Junction.
Yeah, Bruce Trenery started a business out there selling special interests like sports and exotic cars, and had also always sold race cars. His son, Trenery, that would get into our demographic, basically now runs the business, even though Bruce is still around. Spencer, I think, is the Johnny on the spot and literally taking care of everything. And they always have just, I mean, it is absolute candy to go in their showroom. Next time you're in the Bay Area, we will go over there and say hi to Spencer. Their showroom is incredible. So they're offering a 1980 Lamborghini Countach, an LP 400S Series 2 with 18,000 kilometers. That translates to about 11,000 miles. The 400S uses a slightly smaller 3.9-liter V12 with 6 Weber side draft carburetors that still makes 375 horsepower and 266 pound-foot of torques. That is an incredible recipe because this car only weighs 3,000 pounds, has a manual transmission, and rear-wheel drive. The Miura that came before this car, JP, had V12 that was mid-mounted, but it was transverse. And so when they came out with the Countach as the successor to the Miura, Marcello Gandini, one of our favorite designers, JP, who penned this for Bertoni to make the car for Lamborghini, took the V12 and made it longitudinal, which was better packaging for better performance. And by God, this car set the world on fire. This was on the bedroom of every kid in high school when we were in high school. This was the car, and it is still incredible to look at when you see one in person. JP, I'm telling you, the roof line of this car, the top of the roof line probably comes up to your belt buckle. This car is so low, even a GT40 looks up at it. It is just amazing to see one in person. All the money in the world on is $400,000. One of those things. Our car is sitting at a whopping $420,000 with under an hour to go, offered out of Emeryville, California, on just 11 bids. But I'm sure there are, 43,000 views and 1,800 people watching this auction. This is definitely going to make a splash. Tell me what you think about this car. Does it get any cooler than that? By the way, I'm going to give you one nerd out thing. This car is free of a rear wing. And back in the 80s, and Bradley, I'm sure you remember this, like Car and Driver and Road and Track, they would test these cars. The wing on this car, the option for the wing was $5,500. And you could buy a brand new Hyundai for $5,400. So they oftentimes called the wing the Hyundai wing because you could either have a wing on your Lamborghini or buy
a brand new
another car. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The least expensive brand car for sale in the United States in the mid-'80s was the Hyundai, I think the Elantra or whatever it was called. But they used to call it the Hyundai wing because you could either have the wing or a car. So there you go. Take it away, Bradley. That's my geek out on that car.
Yeah, all true. I think that coming from Fantasy Junction is probably going to carry a bit of a premium because it's a known quantity. Mm-hmm. People in the know and people with money know that they really don't deal in cars that aren't good.
That's right.
So I would say, the 420 is probably fair, but I bet it'll go to 450.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he's
I
going
think so,
right
too.
to the
This
bids
one
there.
looks like
I
the
think it would
writing's
bring
on the
big
wall.
money if the what do you call it? The license plate was straight. Did you guys see that in the pictures? License plate was crooked. Guys, come on, man! It's a $500,000 car.
Oh,
Get this
Spencer
stuff
busted.
straightened out. Jeez Louise. I don't get it.
JP's offended
it's
because
a Washington license plate. Yeah,
there you go.
yeah. All right. Well, here we go.
I mean,
They're taking
that's
it for a drive. Yeah.
That's true to its Italian roots. Something has to be off.
Yeah.
It may as well be
It's-
the license plate. That's the least.
It's got a
expensive thing to
bent
be
frame.
broken.
That's what it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, so they're taking a drive.
Bradley, have you ever driven one?
No, I have not. I've seen a number of them. Obviously, we have them at Radwood shows all the time.
Yeah. The Vegas show had a couple of them, didn't it? Or not Vegas, the
LA.
The Peterson. John and I were at the Peterson
Matt
show.
Farah brought his, right?
Countaches.
He was like,
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Farah brought his, and then 2 more showed up.
2 more, 3 Countaches. Damn.
Yeah, and I think all of them had the wing. So yeah, this being an early car without the wing, but it still has the periscopio kind of styled side intakes.
Yep.
It's a clean looking car. I think that it's one of Gandini's best.
Yeah.
And it deserves its icon status.
Right.
This car without the wing, I think, really looks good. I think, honestly,
I agree.
better.
I agree.
I would prefer it without the wing. And
I think-
frankly, go ahead.
I was going to say those early 80s, late 70s, early 80s cars that didn't have any adornment on them at all. That is an extremely striking car.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
they twice as much.
Sure, yeah. You can see the design element that came from the Miura into the Countach in those early cars. The later ones with all the stuff on them, they don't look anything like those original cars. But
it's my understanding too that wing is completely worthless. Like it does nothing, absolutely nothing.
I mean,
look it
looking
up.
cool ain't nothing.
Well,
JP,
good point.
Good
point. You could just strap that Hyundai to the back and get more downforce than this wing is going to do. That's for sure.
JP, that wing gets you a table and bottle service right next to the DJ.
That wing is a table. What are you talking about? You just put the champagne bottle right on top and a stripper pole next to it. You're good to go. Oh, man, we need this car. All right, so Michael Deeb, where's this car going to land? In less than an hour, right? We were right up against it here.
Yeah. At the risk of offending our guests, I have put in advance $450,000 as my bid, forcing Bradley to choose the over or the under on my watermark bid at $450,000. So what do you say, Bradley? Up to you.
All right, you know what? You're forcing my hand. I'm going all in. We're going 475 on this.
Oh, damn! JP, what are you gonna do with that?
480. Why?
Oh my goodness, you guys are nuts. Oh,
why? Because look at that, suckers! You didn't do your research. It has the wing. It came with the Hyundai, so that means it's worth all the money. I think
hilarious.
this is $500,000 car. I think these, if a wide body 491 naturally aspirated Porsche is now worth 125, why isn't this worth $500,000? I mean, if we're just talking straight up inflation, and if we're just talking what's going on right now is real dollars, well then this is $500,000 right there. If that's all that's going on is that the tide is rising and money is worth less, then that's where this thing needs to be. So that's my take. I don't know if it's going to happen, but boy,
it's the raddest of the rad, and
it is the raddest of the rad.
That era is only going up. So.
JP says there's only one car more rad than that, and that would be a Volkswagen Corrado with a 16-valve engine. That's the only thing radder than that car.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a car I like better, but not radder because that's a 90s car. I've always taken exception to Radwood including 90s. I understand it. I get it. But Rad was not 90s. Rad was 80s. And but
where's the leave room?
I was there, man. I was there, Bradley. You were in your time. I was there. We stormed Normandy. No, wait, that was 20 years before. Or 30. I don't know. I can't do math. Yeah, no, it's all good. This is the raddest car of all time because it's decidedly 80s. There are other cars like the Vectors and stuff like that you can make an argument for, but this is way more iconic. Everyone knows what this is. You don't have to be a car person at all. You see this shape and you go, oh, that's a Lambo, right? That's a Countach.
I took Esther to the Breakfast Club rally in the Bay Area, and we went to this one last month, and there were like 4 Di Tommaso Panteras, and Esther kept saying, who was born in 1990, and she kept saying, she goes, look at that Lamborghini over there. Look at that Lamborghini over there. I mean, it's just like, it's the shape is so iconic that anything that looks like it, she just thinks it's a Lamborghini. That's the default. And so, it just become the standard bearer for that. Like anything swoopy or space age, it's a Lamborghini. It's crazy.
Yeah, Bradley, what's more rad, a Zeta Marauder or a Lamborghini Countach?
I mean...
It's the Countach. Come on, of course. Nobody knows what a Marauder is unless you're one of us. Yeah. You have to be super nerd. V16. So it has to be. It has to have that iconic appeal. All right. Made my point. Moving on. I get to hit the buttons and
made it as a crankshaft.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay, here we go. Pandering to our guest JP, let's look at a 1986 Volkswagen Vanagon Syncro with 330,000 miles offered out of Otter Creek, Oregon. Employing 2.1 liter flat 4 with a 4-speed manual. This car has, I believe, you guys can correct me because I don't know these things very well, an aftermarket roof put on it. This is not the one that came with it from Volkswagen. That's somebody's accoutrement. This car has been driven into the ground and back. Was that from Volkswagen?
Well, I mean, I'll let you go ahead and finish, but they did make factory high tops, but I believe they were earlier, and I don't believe that's what this is. This is not a Westphalia top, which is what you're thinking of.
No, it's not
high
a Westphalia.
tops were from the factory, and it's possible that one could have been sourced from an earlier one put on. But yeah,
this one was not.
This car.
This is an aftermarket.
Thank you, brother. That was the point I was trying to make. Whatever the roof is on this car, it did not come from Germany or wherever Vanagons are made. But anyway, this is by all accounts, this car is running and operational, and everything on it works. Super neat car, all-wheel drive. You never see them very often. But these things have been going up in value, and this one looks like it could have a strong flurry because our car is sitting at $21,800, whereas last night it was at just $16,000. So clearly there is people watching this car, and they are fighting over it already, and it has yet to close. Bradley, what makes this one so special or worth fighting for?
Man, looking at it now, it's got the Wasserboxer water-cooled flat 4, which is just a terrible motor.
Right.
And but it's got the visual appeal. It's got the van life off-roady synchro thing that people want these days. It's an extremely hipster van.
Right.
I went and looked at a TDI swapped Syncro, and they wanted like 19 for it, and that was just too much money for that. That one had a Westphalia top on it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of in vogue right now, these Volkswagen vans, and man, I don't know. I mean, the high top is definitely unique. It's got the vent, it's got the rack on the side, it's got the ladder. It's very Instagram friendly. This is van life in a can.
Right.
This thing will take really good pictures, but the Syncros are actually formidable off-road if you do them right. And this one's got the steel, bumpers and all that stuff. But I would not take this one off-road. All that extra fiberglass up there, that thing's gonna fall over, man.
Very top. Very tall, very top heavy.
They're top heavy anyway. So to add, another 900 pounds probably that thing weighs. I mean, that's nuts to put that on top of this thing, especially with bigger wheels. What's that? Well. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to get way out there. But there's a problem with that, Deep, because the way the front arch works, you can't cut into it because the door and the inside of the door panel goes in there. I have a very good friend of mine who is the premier expert on these. He's got a VR6 one of these, and it rocks. He's probably got the best Syncro there is, and that's saying something because there's a lot of great Syncros out there. Totally underpowered. This one, You're right that these are definitely the thing that all the hipsters want to drive because it's way cooler than any like normal RV that you could get. But come on, man. I mean, it's just not going to get there. It's going to break all the damn time. Is there any mention, Deeb, that this engine has been recently replaced?
Go ahead. The what has?
Is there any mention that, okay, so there's three main things that you got to watch out for these. One, the head gaskets go about every 10 to 30,000 miles because the block is steel or cast and the heads are aluminum. And if you don't use the right coolant, you'll pretty much warp the heads every 5,000 to 30,000 miles. So that's something that goes wrong with them constantly. This is a Syncro. And because it's a Syncro, it has obviously all-wheel drive. And the transmissions on these are notorious for going out. They only last about 30,000 miles. And nobody makes them anymore. There's one guy in Duval, Washington that's been rebuilding them and he used to charge like $3,000 to rebuild them, and now he's sick and his son is trying to take over, and now it's like $9,000 to replace one of these damn things or to rebuild them.
Let me shut this out. Okay, so the seller notes that the transmission was rebuilt by Stevens Auto House in 2018, and the engine was rebuilt by No Name Garage of Eugene, Oregon in 2018. Additional service under this ownership has included replacement of the starter, the clutch, the fuel sending unit, the alternator, the radiator, and the wiring harness. All that's been done in the last 4 years.
All right. Well, that definitely helps. I mean, just about anybody can rebuild one of these. The engine wise, I mean, the engines are pretty basic. Yeah. It's just a what do you call it? Type 4 or whatever water pumper. But that transmission, no, that's a very good news to hear that that's been rebuilt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I have just recently had Type 4 rebuilt. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
I put 13 grand in the motor in my 9 Golf, so yeah.
Whoa.
So I mean, I did more than just stock rebuild, but still, those Type 4s are not cheap to rebuild. So
well, you said it, Bradley. You own one of these that just got shrunk in a dryer. That's what a 976 912 is, right? Yeah, just
right.
That's your line, not mine. I love that. You can see Bradley Brownell in an upcoming episode of Porsche Road Trip on Chassis Media, Chassis TV, available on Pluto sometime supposedly this week, or not this week, but this month. That's what the distributors
filmed sometime 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's like it was filmed in the 80s when the car was new.
JP's you famous.
One of these days, this stupid
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. It's a show from the before times. It's a History Channel now. All right, so where do we think this thing is going to land, guys? This is such a great car.
JP,
I'm glad to hear about the engine maintenance that's been done.
Offered out of Otter Creek, Oregon, and still showing 330,000 miles on the odometer of the Syncro. This is a no reserve auction. I don't know these cars very well. Last night when it was 16,000, I said 24 grand, thinking that would be all the money in the world. And overnight, this car has practically reached my bid. So with 59 minutes left to go, it's sitting at $21,100 on a whopping 27 bids. So I'm just going to kind of cheat, even though we have a guest. I know this is kind of rude. It's like serving myself first, but I'm going to up my bid by $1,000 and park it at $26,000, simply because we read that it had a boatload of recent maintenance. Lena, Bradley, you know these cars and I do. Where's it really going to sell for?
I know I might know the cars, but I don't know people, and that's kind of the important part here. If you get two people who are really into this thing, bidding back and forth, I could see it going way up in the last few minutes.
Wow.
So. Man, it's rough, but I'm going to go an even 30 on it.
Wow, make it weak.
All right,
buddy?
That's where I was going to go. What did you say, Deeb? You said 27.
I said 26. He said 30. You got a lot of room in between us if you want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I can play this conservative and try to win, but I'm going to go what I actually think it's worth and what I think it's going to sell for. I'm going to say 32.
What?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've seen the Westies go in the high 20s, but those were not Syncros. Syncros have always been worth
Yeah.
way more. And
Yeah.
this one isn't a Westie, but it's got that high top, so it doesn't have all the plumbing inside. I mean, this thing is pretty monstrous, and it really is. It does look like it's done right, and it's got the Euro headlights, and that makes me also happy. So yeah, I'm gonna go big on this one. I think somebody's gonna get something pretty badass.
Bradley, John knows these cars really well.
Yeah.
We've been covering them quite a bit in the 6 months.
He's a PNW boy, so
Yeah. And so we've been really watching, like Weekenders and Westies and stuff like that bring crazy money and documenting it on the show on several different platforms. We've even seen a few of them bring good money on Cars and Bids. This is a neat one. I don't think we've ever done an actual Syncro, so that's kind of neat. And it's interesting to see what they might be worth. So thanks for your date. That's really cool.
there was a Syncro Doka that showed up to a Rattlewood, Texas, and it was so cool.
Oh,
Just so cool. It was red.
Yeah.
And it had the fold down bed sides and everything.
Was it a TriStar? What year was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
The TriStars are where it's at. But anyways.
Fortunately, it was 2 years ago, and I barely remember what happened last week.
Oh, man. All right.
He can't even remember why he agreed to do this show.
Yeah. Bradley, you're not on our show. This is just a fever dream. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
That's right.
It's not real. It didn't actually happen. Your credibility isn't plummeting by the moment by being associated with us two yahoos. All right. What's the next car, Michael Deep?
All right, JP, we're going to look at just a crazy lot offered out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Is this 250-mile 2006 Factory 5 GTM? JP, I have to confess, as much as I know exotic cars, I don't really know anything about these. And every time I look at one, it's like I'm seeing it for the first time. My brain has never memorized the lines on these. I remember hearing a lot about them, but I couldn't tell you much about like where they come from or why they even exist. This one seems to have been purchased and put away in the Dakotas. It has just 250 miles on it. These things are powered by a 5.7-liter LS6 V8. They have, interestingly, JP, a Getrag sourced and rebuilt for some strange reason, a G50 5-speed transactional. And just, it's interesting, the Corvette wheels, Corvette brakes, Corvette suspension. And yet here is this unusual car that I'm assuming weighs a lot less and has obviously a lower center of gravity. Just fascinating. This thing must be a rocket ship to drive, but I'm guessing that it was built in somebody's garage and probably not reliable. I sure as hell wouldn't go 100 miles an hour in this thing for fear I would die. So with your life insurance intact, you can buy this 250-mile leftover Factory 5 GTM. What do you say, Bradley? You know more about these cars than I do, because I don't know anything.
Yeah, a little bit. They were Factory 5 is like a kit car company. They do a lot of like Cobras and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
This was their own design, and basically you get a C5 Corvette and a G50 Trans, and you bolt it all together. They send you the bodywork and the chassis and all that stuff. So, I can't imagine keeping one of these with low miles, thinking it's going to be worth something. Kit cars are never worth anything.
Right.
I mean, even one with good quality components like this, like an LS motor and everything. So basically, you're buying a really fast car that makes all the sense in the world to drive.
Right.
But why would you just keep it with 250 miles?
I am familiar with Factory 5's fake Cobra kits, which are not the nicest, but they're,
they're pretty good.
Yeah. But my guess is that the mission statement behind this was to build the car up to that point, didn't have the balls to build.
Absolutely.
A mid-engine Corvette. And that's
right.
It's even lightweight. And if, they build a car that would beat a Ferrari. And I imagine that's what the mission was behind this. I wonder.
2006, there was really, what was on the market that would be this good? Ford GT? And that's going to be, what were they, over $100,000, couple of grand?
Oh yeah, they were 150 if you could get one, and and they were immediately trading for 300 and up.
Right.
It's
Well,
crazy.
they actually had a moment there where they were worthless. I mean, everything in 2009, 10, they were down in that 100 range like everything else. And then they took off to 300s and stuff. But there was definitely that dip.
But that wasn't the car's fault. That was the bank fault.
Right. But this car was out there at the same time. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know anything about these either, but I got to tell you, I like it. It kind of reminds me of that Panos we talked about the other day. That Panos thing is so ugly and so hideous. It's like, all right, we're going to take a car that exists and try to make it better, and the Panos is just a complete failure. Whereas this is like, all right, we're going to take a bunch of components and put them together and make something actually better. And I think this is a rare when they actually did it, kind of like the MV Augusta thing. That's just a weirdo car. It's every time they try to do these weird things, it doesn't work. This one nailed it. The only thing I would do is change the damn wheels. I mean, those wheels are so kind of boring. Corvette. Find some aftermarket lightweight things.
And the tires are terrible.
The
tires are terrible.
Old Goodyear F1s, come on.
In lieu of a ring, they put this huge rear diffuser, which will keep that rear end stable above 140 miles an hour. Bradley, I think you're a motorcycle guy. Look at that super trap exhaust sticking out of the back. Imagine blowing a Corvette through twin super traps. I imagine that exhaust sounds really unique, like nothing like anything else on the road. Like you couldn't compare it to anything. I couldn't wait to hear this. It sounds pretty awesome. The color is a little mundane for me. I'd like, if you're gonna have a car that looks like a race car, I'd to be a brighter color.
Livery, bitch! This thing is asking for livery. Just vinyl all over.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, it's hard to know where these things are worth, especially one with no miles on it. I don't think anybody's paying a premium for it, but what do you think? Anything else? Any final thoughts?
It looks kind of Cellini.
It does. That's a good take.
And those are ridiculous money and drive like garbage. So something that's relatively inexpensive and actually drives sort of well. I could see this going for money. The front end kind of looks like that Chrysler Concept. What was that? The ME 12, I think. In 2000.
Look at you nerding out.
Yeah.
Bradley, like we said earlier, you don't drive cars that are over $100,000, and most mid-engine supercars that are well over that range. Is this a car? Is this a Bradley Brownell exotic right here? Is this something that you wind up?
It would need some tweak, but I would be down to drive something like this for sure.
There you go.
All right, I'm excited about that. Where is it going to land, not Bradley, Deeb, where's this thing going to land?
Okay, so 4 hours to go. South Dakota, which is the middle of nowhere. You flew in over BP. It's when you fall asleep halfway to New York. $32,000, JP, and on just 11 bids. 800 people watching it, but who knows? I mean, I feel like bid is pretty conservative. Weird. I'm not usually the under guy. I said 36. Maybe I'll boost to $39,000, but I'm walking the plank here. I don't know what I'm doing on this car. This car's what do you compare it to?
Does.
You know where's the comp? There isn't one. Bradley, what do you think? Over under 40 grand, buddy?
I'm gonna go with over for one reason.
What's that?
This car already sold on this website in November.
Oh, what are you doing? Homework? Cut him off. That's it.
We don't do research. What are you doing? That's Pcar Market Live. What is wrong with you here? Oh, God.
It's sold all this
how to knock your ass back on the bid nerds. Jeez.
It's sold in November for $44,000.
Oh my goodness.
And the buyer didn't pay. So I'm thinking it probably won't get to 44 again, but I'll say 43.
All right.
43. With evidence. What do we do that?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say 42 anyway. Here's the thing. Here's something that's really gonna tick all you guys off. All right, as a 997 owner, a 997.1 or this car. It's this car all day, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love 997s, but this thing is so much cooler than anything else you can get for under 50 grand that I can think of.
The only thing that would come close for me is like the 987 Boxster Spider.
Yeah,
I think
there you go. Yeah.
I think that's cool enough. It's not fast. It's not as fast, but I think it's cool enough that it'd be close.
The 987 Spider. Okay, that's the one.
Yeah.
For sure. Boy, yeah, I like this car. Swap out the wheels, and everyone's going to be like, what the heck is that?
Livery. Livery. I'd
Michael
love to
Deeb's
see what
wife
you
is
would do
going to
with
see it
that
and
car.
go, I like that Lambo.
Yeah, exactly.
Love you, Esther. All right,
right,
guys,
here
let's
we
go
go.
to the next car. What do we got?
All right, JP, not quite rad. It came just after the rad era, but this car is definitely like a footnote in history. Here we go. 2004 Maybach 62, the long wheelbase, the limousine style. Not the car you drive, but the car you get driven around in. Basically, Mercedes-Benz took the S-Class, changed the bodywork, and then resurrected a name and brand that they own from yesteryear, the Maybach moniker. This is a one-owner V12 long wheelbase limousine offered out of Gaithersburg, Maryland, with 69,000 miles on the odometer. The motor in this is a 5.5-liter twin-turbo V12 that makes a whopping 545 horsepower and 665 pound-foot of torque. Bradley, I know this is going to arrest your sensibilities. Get the defibrillator ready. But somebody paid over $361,000 the MSRP, and this car was new 17 years ago. Offered in Caspian black with Labrador anthracite interior. The gizmos, luxury features, are bound on this. It's got, like captain's chairs and footrests and air conditioning and computer screens and a refrigerator. It's all in there. It's like Q from James Bond built this car for M. Anyways, not a lot of modifications, not too many flaws, just some wear and tear as you'd expect on a 70,000-mile luxury car. But talk to me. Why is it this car, which was supposed to be so amazing and would charge such a premium, you could have bought a house back then for that, is only
you can buy a house now for that.
Yeah, is sitting at $39,000 with 12 bids with just 12 bids on the clock, and it's got over 3 hours to go out of Maryland, Gaithersburg, Maryland. Talk to me. Why are luxury cars so soft? I mean, this is less than 10%.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing we came to on the last time I was on, where people with money don't buy used cars. This doesn't appeal to somebody as a wealthy individual. So, it's just used, and they just got rid of it.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's still probably extremely luxurious. It's still stupidly fast, and it's still super comfortable for somebody to be driven around in, 17 years later.
Right.
It doesn't have all the tech, and I'm sure the screen looks dated and slow to react to your button inputs and all that. But if you're looking for something with like quality leather and wood, burled walnut, and all that kind of garbage, $39,000 is probably a pretty good price for something like this. I'd say it probably won't go a lot over that.
No, I don't
just
think
because
so either.
People will be worried about maintenance costs and that kind of stuff. Just trying. I can imagine this thing says that it recently had a service: engine oil filter, battery, and key fob changed with new tires in January.
Yeah, $4,000.
Yeah. Oh, easily. Probably more.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine that would be a cheap one. I mean, Mercedes are already expensive, and this thing is like next level. So,
I'm pretty sure that this
mean,
car came with a camera, and that's the camera that they're using to make this video. What the hell, guys?
Yeah, no kidding.
JP, I just want to jump into really luxury cars from Europe are all soft in the secondary market. But what we have seen, as John has been doing the show, Mercedes-Benz V12s plummet like a stone. I mean, they are just worthless. Nobody wants to own these cars out of warranty. And look at this thing sitting at 90% depreciation in 17 years. That 17 years does sound like a long time, but still, that is just crazy how worthless this car is compared to its original value. John, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. What's it going to land at, Deep?
I don't think this one's going anywhere. By all accounts, it should be a $60,000 car, and it's not. I could put $50,000, but I am not confident in that bid. It's at $39,000 on 12 bids with 3 hours to go. I'm take, I don't know, $3,000, $2,000 off I'm going to go $48,000, you guys. I'm real conservative today. I don't know why, but that's it.
What do you think, Bradley?
Oh, I think I'll go 45.
There you go.
I think I'll go 45. That's
Cars and Bids is one platform that we've seen more than any other. On very often occasions, we see auctions that on the last day, unlike most other auction sites like BAT and Pcar, you see late flurries. Cars and Bids regularly has auctions that end with no additional bids, oftentimes with bids from the day before. And I think this is one of them. I think wherever this is at right now is where it's gonna now whether it sells at that, I don't know what the
same thing.
I don't think there's a penny more coming up in this. Yeah.
There you go. Right, it is.
The big question is whether or not it will sell. Is the reserve much higher than that? So I think it'll be. I think that's the high bid, and whether or not it actually sells at that number that's the big mystery. I'm guessing whoever owns it thinks it's worth a lot more.
All right. And then to put a smile on Bradley's face, JP, we have a car I think the three of us would all love to drive. This is a
100%.
1993 Nissan 300ZX convertible with a 5-speed manual, just 37,000 miles on the odometer. The car is offered off of Hemmings Auctions platform. It's offered out of, let me read it to you, Minnetonka. Isn't that where Prince was from? Or Lake Minnetonka in the movie from Rad, right? Minnesota. Yeah. Anyways, I guess I'm the only one that remembers that. My bad. Cousin Billy had a pearl white 300Z convertible with automatic transmission. I always thought his car would have been way cooler with a manual. 225 horsepower, probably around 3,000 pounds. It's still a sporty car, and these things handle great. They're super fun to drive. JP, I know you drove like one of the first turbos when you were working for a dealership back when you were a little boy. Bradley, have you ever driven one of these things? I happen to really like these cars a lot.
I have not.
I think this is a great value.
Wait, Bradley, you've never driven a 300Z of this era, or never driven the convertible one?
Neither.
Wow.
Neither.
Crazy.
I grew up in the Midwest, man. We didn't have foreign cars.
Oh, he drove a few.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, I had an Oldsmobile. I had a Pontiac. I had a Buick. I had full
is that one
Victorian.
car? Or was that three different cars?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we didn't have foreign cars, man. This would have been like off the wall. When I bought my Triumph, I thought my parents were going to disown me. That's
great. Oh man.
Yeah. My wife's father drove a Honda Accord, and that was about as close as we got to foreign cars. So
yeah,
I was built in Ohio.
Yeah, right.
No, so I've never driven a 300ZX. I would love to. This looks amazing. I mean,
it really does.
It looks so nice. I can't believe someone kept one this nice for this one. Yeah. And I got to say, everything about this is appealing to my sensibilities right now. I dig the hell out of this thing.
Yeah.
The interior of these really, they saw the future, man. These cars that had this
beautiful.
like cockpit wraparound interior was crazy back then. Nobody had this kind of like jet fighter pilot seat thing going on, and I mean, and this interior kind of like Die Hard holds up. You know, it's a movie that would be made pretty much the same way right now. This car is, honestly, they drive better than a 350Z or a 370Z. I would way rather have one of these than any new Z. Maybe the brand new one will live up to this car, but this is definitely the best Z car of all time. Maybe not in the convertible, and as much as I like convertibles, I think that weird roll bar was just an odd design choice, and I don't know what the hell they were thinking there, especially given that most of these were T-tops. I mean, you really already had your convertible fix, and you still had that cool coupe look. So this convertible top is one of the worst looking convertible design solutions of all time, considering how good this car looks overall. But I don't care. I would love to drive this car. It would be so much fun. And you're hanging out with pretty much anything that's modern, but still have that classic all 90s Radwood gold. So where's it going to land, guys? It's the end of the show. Where are we at?
All right, JP. Again, off at a Minnetonka Minnesota. This car has still 4 hours and like 10 minutes to go. It's sitting at just $11,550 with the reserve not yet met. Let's see, 14 bids and just 124 people watching. That's not a lot, but I still think this car's got some room ahead of it. Last night the car was at $11,300, so it's got a few more bids. I put $19,000, which feels like a conservative number for how nice the car is, but we just haven't seen Z's of this era bring big money, and so I just wonder. This will be an interesting test, not only for the car but for the platform. I'm going to sit on my bid and leave you guys lots of room above me if you want it.
What was your bid?
$9,000.
Bradley, what do you think?
I'm going to go a little above that. I'm going to go 25.
You're going to go 25? Wow, that's bold,
Yeah, I'm going to
man.
go 25.
All right.
It's going to be tough to get there because there's only 4 hours left and it's only at 11. But
Yeah, I mean, that's well over doubling it from where it's at right now.
yeah, well, I'm betting the reserve is going to be 20.
Yeah.
That could be right.
How many miles do you have on it again?
37,000.
37,000.
Yeah. I'll
Which
bet
is
the
pretty
over
low
and
for
go.
93.
Yeah, considering how
Yeah.
that 996, that really ugly 996 cab went yesterday for, in the mid 20s or low 20s.
I'd have 5 of these before I had that 996.
Yeah, I would way rather drive this car than that 996 cab. There it
Yeah.
is. I said that
Yeah.
too. Absolutely,
Yeah.
unequivocally. So yeah, I'm gonna go 21.
All right, good
I'm
bet.
gonna
That's
go
fair.
over.
That's fair.
And I think it sells. I mean, look, I'm shocked that Hemmings sold that 996 yesterday. So why not go bullish on this thing? The
Right?
platform really, jeez. All right, guys. Well, there it is. You have been
Before
watching.
we go,
Oh wait,
Yes.
I was going to give you a shot, but what do you got? Hit me.
got one question.
All right.
Of everything on Rad For Sale right now, what would you buy?
Ooh, question.
I'm
would you
digging that
take?
86
No,
944 turbo all
That's
day
a
long.
good color combo,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
The red
Even
interior. Oh yeah.
You've got that 88 cab commemorative edition, which is certainly the better car, but I just really like the turbo 944.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like that thing.
What do you think, Deep?
I just listen. That 86 turbo probably makes the most sense. But if this was a Karate Kid moment where you could just pick a car and drive it home, it'd be the Turbo Cup. I think the thing is amazing. Reebok,
Rocking the Reeboks.
yellow wheels. It's got basically all the stuff that was found on the Silver Rose is on that car. I'm all about it. That car's amazing. I would totally get that on the street and drive it.
Bradley, are we going to do some live closes with you on Bid Nerds? What do you want to do about that? How should we do that?
Yeah, why not? I think. I mean, I know that I said it last time, and you followed up, said it probably wasn't a good idea, but I'm totally down to do like a monthly. Get on here and a bid as it closes down, and
You said, wait. Did you say I said that was a bad idea or a good idea?
Yeah, I listened to the following show the next morning to see how I did on my bids.
Yeah.
And Deeb was like, he shouldn't have admitted to that because we'll definitely hold him to it.
We're definitely going to hold you to it. That's what I thought. Okay, we're doing it. That's happening.
I'm in.
All right.
Let's
All
do
right.
it. So let's close one of the first cars.
Bradley,
So
I love
it's
that
gonna
you
be-
got into this too, because
So-
like last time when you were on, like all day, you're hitting me with your bids, and I'm like, oh great,
Yeah.
okay, I've created a monster. This is Deeb and I do this all day too, so it's addictive, right?
Yeah, it is, and seeing how we finish out and how these things close it's fun. It's like a game.
Awesome.
I've always been into this stuff. When I go to the bid in person, the big auctions in Monterey or whatever car week, it's always fun to get into the atmosphere. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of money and I'm not spending it, so it's even more fun when it's somebody else's money.
It's like watching Price is
Absolutely.
Right, only about things that you actually care about instead of a washer dryer
Right.
set or meatloaf box. It's like,
Just
all right,
it.
yeah, I love that car, and I can use mine. Okay, so anyways, well, there it is, everybody. Bradley Brownell, thank you so much for joining us. Bradley Brownell from Jalopnik, one of the originators of Radwood, and he is here representing Rad For Sale. So if you haven't checked out that auction site, they're the new kid on the block, and they're going to show us how you do it. Go ahead and sing the song in your head. This is how you do it.
No, I did it at the beginning. I'm not doing it again.
Not doing it again. All right. Thanks for joining us, man. Where can we find you on the socials? Anything else you want us to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I've got an electric car show coming up, Autopia 2099, so go check that out on Instagram.
Nice.
Radwood is probably going to be back in June, so keep an eye on
all
that.
right. Do we know where we, or is that going to be an
what part of the country? Pick a half of the country.
We would definitely be going back to our roots in San Francisco.
Oh, okay. All right.
First one.
Nice.
So,
you guys are all welcome
okay.
to crash here.
All right. Everybody's staying at Gabe's house. All right.
Yeah. It's on.
So, yeah, we'll definitely have some more news about that. So follow us on social media there, Radwood Official. And then you can find me on Twitter if you really want to. I wouldn't recommend it, at BC Brownell. And yeah, that's all I got right now. So
it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Michael Deeb, anything else before we take it away?
No, hey Bradley, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to have you on, man. Thanks.
Happy to be here. Thanks so much.
All right, guys, this has been a Wednesday edition of Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day on Cars and Bids. Bring a trailer, Pcar Market, now Rad For Sale. We're doing it, man. We nerd out every single day, Monday through Friday, during around the 9 o'clock hour. Come back tomorrow. We have a third nerd tomorrow. Nathan Merce from my old neck of the woods up there in Washington is going to be joining. Yeah, he's the Porsche guy. He's going to join us tomorrow, and we're going to talk about some Porsches and other cars too. He's not just a Porsche guy. He made that very clear when we were corresponding. He's like, I don't want to just talk about Porsches. Okay. So he's a nerd like us, and we're excited to talk to him. Again, thanks, Bradley. Good luck with Rad For Sale. Everyone, thanks for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe, like, notifications button, and we will see you tomorrow.
Get those nerds! Nerds!